Welcome back to CN2 Today. I'm Laurabree Monday, and I'm excited to share with you what really is a true full circle moment in my television career. Back in 2001, I was a reporter in Lubbock, Texas, and I remember clearly covering a big story. There was a young girl sleeping in her bunk bed, and a drunk driver hits the corner of the house and crashes the wall down all around this child. Well, that family and I did a lot of stories together over the years, and I gave the girl a journal at the time because it meant so much to me. Well, apparently the impact was felt mutually because she reached out to me more than 20 years later. I caught up with her this week, but first I want to share with you some of those stories sent to me by my old station. So here's a look back from 2001.
We woke up kind of screaming, and it was a terrible sound, and we ran, and when I got to Siera's room, I picked up was sitting where her bed was.
10-year-old Siera Hansen was sleeping in her bunk bed when she was thrown from the bed and buried in debris.
My husband found her. She was unconscious, and we thought that she was dead.
It's starting to get better. It was hard at first, but it's not anymore.
Siera Hansen is 10, but she has the strength of an adult. These young eyes have seen more than any parent would wish. Fortunately, her memory of this crash is still a little unclear.
I don't remember anything really. I just remember a lot of voices. They told me that he was drinking at a party and he just crashed into my bed, to the wall, and the wall that my bed was on, and it hit my bed into the other wall.
We all make mistakes. He made a bad choice, but it doesn't change where my baby's laying right now. And I hope all the college students and high school students will be aware that, this is another incident, not to drink and drive.
I just know that people love me. I'm glad about that.
10-year-old Siera Hansen is surrounded with balloons, flowers, and a lot of love. It's been 10 days since she was last home.
I thought it looked different, but I was really, really glad to be home.
The rebuilding of Siera's room is certainly coming along nicely. This is the wall that the truck drove into. She plans on sleeping on the other side of the room from now on, but her mom says it will still be a while before they put her in here.
I'm just not ready yet to put him in there, even when it is fixed up.
Laurabree, all those years, and it's still such an impact. I mean, even watching that story and know you guys have reconnected, what a cool part of your job.
Yeah,
it's
really wonderful to see how you can touch people. Meant a lot that she reached out. She was so eloquent at the time. How could a story like that not touch you? You've covered stories too that you just know this one stays with you. Yeah. And to be able to reconnect with her was so special.
It's been more than 20 years.
Yes, it's been, let's see, I'm almost 34. I was 10.
Yeah.
So 24 years, 23 years.
Right, 2001. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were both kids. I mean, at the end of the day, I was maybe a couple years into my first TV job. Maybe I remember being super scared when my newsroom said, call the hospital, see if you can get an interview. It was, you don't want to impose and intrude, but I've also learned as the many years have gone on, it can also, with the right people, be a therapeutic piece of the process. So I'd love to get into that a little bit with you, but do you still have vivid memories? I know at the time you couldn't really remember the accident. So are your memories more of the pictures and what was told to you, or do you still remember hospital and all that?
I remember a lot of it now. It took several years. So I think when we spoke last, I really couldn't remember. But since then, it was it would be random flashbacks as, I don't know, it would be a noise or, something like that, that would bring back a memory. So I've kind of puzzle pieced together a lot of that night.
Yeah, your mom, Julie, at the time was remarkable. I remember thinking, I was so far from being a mom myself at the time, but I've always said on stories, I don't know how I'd respond if I was on the other side. You've got to give people the opportunity to share their story. And she so quickly was able to hone in on the dangers of drunk driving and kids, are you hearing this lesson? And I just remember being really in awe of her because her daughter, was fighting for her life, but she still was able to say, yep, come on up, because there's an issue we need to talk about.
Yes, I think she did it perfectly where she wanted to get the word out so that she could kind of spread that message that, hey, this young man was 19 years old, but there's real consequences to this for him and then potentially for innocence involved. But she didn't just let everyone in. It was really only you.
It was, I mean, it really was remarkable. When I look back, I remember having a real connection and camaraderie with your family, and there was a warmth and I think a mutual understanding of the depth of this situation and what your family was going through. So it's sort of silly for me to ask you about this, but I got this remarkable email from you 20 plus years later. It really touched my heart so much. It's nice to feel like you make a difference in this life, right? You want to feel like you touch people. So share a little bit of, I guess, how that experience and being on TV and doing these interviews with me really kind of stayed with you.
Yeah. Obviously that was a huge impactful time in my life, especially being so young. And it was really the journal that you gave me. So I used it as I continued to grow. I think the last time I wrote in it was in college. So I continued to write in it pretty often. It's full, it's sitting right next to me. And then I looked at it one day and I was like, I wonder, because you wrote a personal note in there. And I said, I wonder what Laurabree is up to now, and if she's thought about me. And I'm an adult, I'm married, I have 2 children of my own. So I thought I need to reach out to her and just let her know how impactful she was to me.
Mm.
Every time I opened that journal, I had that sweet note from you.
Oh, I love hearing that. And I have to say, you stayed with me for sure, your whole family. I mean, you look back at your career, 25 years of doing this, there's only a handful of stories and people, but I have told my Siera Hansen story over the years as kind of a lesson in kindness, a little bit in how you treat a story. I didn't obviously know how it stayed with you over the years, but I do know at the time, this is kind of an interesting story to share. I don't know that you know this. There was another reporter that showed up at the hospital and kind of blasted her way in. And she said to your mom, only do an interview with me. And by the time I got there, your mom turned to me and said, can I do that? Can I only talk to one person? And I said, you can, if yes, you can do what you want. She said, well, then I just want to talk with you. And I remember thinking, okay, that's great. And I think again, you connect with people on a level where there's just some compassion and understanding in that moment. I mean, I don't know if people can tell from the video of the house. We didn't talk to you for a week because you were so banged up and not in good shape. I mean, this really was a life-threatening situation. So to go into a situation like that as a journalist and not understand what you're walking into, and I was young. I mean, I hadn't had a million experiences in life, but I certainly understood this was a private moment that if I was going to become a part of, it had to be done with kindness. You know what I mean? That's how I would want to be treated. So at the time, I just have shared that story with other up and coming reporters that the one reporter that was pushy didn't get the stories. And the one that I guess, took her time and just sort of let the relationship evolve. We did. Like Siera sat up today. Siera got out of bed today. Siera got home today. Siera went back to school today. Siera visited the TV station. I mean, we were with you, but because I wanted to be, I was pushing those stories and it was moving the whole community. I mean, I watched back some of those videos of the strangers that came up to the house just to say, what can I do? Like, hand me a hammer. Did you ever sleep in that bedroom again?
I did not. I never slept in there again. It was so sweet. And like you said, the community really came together. I think someone donated some bedroom furniture for me. They painted it purple for me. That was my favorite color, still is. And so they came together to put that room together for me and make me feel comfortable. But it never happened. So we moved pretty quickly after that. And I'll tell you, my husband knows anytime that we've house hunted,
Yes.
can't be a corner.
Can't be a corner, stay away
No.
from busy roads.
Yeah.
But that situation, again, highly unusual, but such frustration a little bit to go along with that story because the person who hit you
Mhm.
I don't remember if he went to jail for it, but there's been recurring
Yeah.
situations. Is that right?
Yes, I don't think he went to jail for it. There has been some recurring situations, and my heart just breaks for him, honestly. He was 19 and he made a mistake. I think that he continued and kind of made a few more after that, but I haven't kept up with him much since.
How did that whole experience change your trajectory, change um, professionally or personally, how you grew up?
Yeah, I think it taught me, I mean, it's crazy to say at 10 years old, it taught me, hey, this time here could be really, really short. But I did take that away from it. I think I walked away, and once I was healed, I said, anything could happen at any moment. That was my safe place, asleep in my bed, and something still happened. So it didn't hinder me from taking risks. It kind of propelled that. It kind of said, go live big, because this could end really abruptly. So I did that.
Tell people what you're doing today. I know you've started into a new business venture. We're Facebook friends now, so I get to follow what you're doing and your beautiful family. It's unbelievable.
Thank you. Yeah. So I went to Baylor, graduated in 2013, got into marketing and things like that. Married my husband in 2016. We have a 4-year-old girl and a 2-year-old boy. And then I just started a business, bringing it to Fort Worth. It's called Squeeze Massage. It's from the creators of Dry Bar. So I'm excited to bring it here. I'm the first one to open in DFW. So that's a big old leap. And I cannot say that that didn't come from that experience.
I love it. And for you, when you went to Baylor, journalism, if I recall, was part of the path because of that experience a little
It
bit.
was, yes. And believe me, every now and then I wake up and I say, how did I not become a reporter? But I was a journalism major, and I interned at CBS in New York City.
Oh my goodness. But in the end, you found your path, and
I found my path.
I'm thrilled for you. Siera,
Yeah, but it still led me. It still led me in that direction, and I am where I am now because of following that journalism path. And I promise you, it's because of that note in that journal that I saw constantly every time I wrote in it.
Oh, I love hearing that. And I am such a proponent of like handwriting still. I know people love to, I don't know, they pull up their notes on their phones and all the things, but I still do journal. So I gave that to you as something that I genuinely did myself and still find some therapy in. I journal to the kids. I don't know if they'll ever read it. I have it for me if they never do. But I think it really, for me as a gift, felt like something that maybe would be helpful to you. So it's really amazing to hear that really touched you that much.
It did. It was definitely helpful and therapeutic. I mean, I think the first time I wrote in it was probably the day you gave it to me. So to look back at 10-year-old me and 11-year-old me and 12, just so many ages. And I would use it to say, well, what was I dreaming of doing? What was I writing about? And after we visited the news station, it was, I want to be a journalist. I want to be like Laurabree. So that was my path.
Wow. Well, it was amazing to hear from you. I mean, truly, your family, your story. Please send my best to your mom. I mean, you guys have been in my heart all these years. So to get an email like that said, is this Laurabree Austin? I think that was my name. Just moved me so much.
So special.
That
And
is
she's
special.
remarkable. She was remarkable then, and she still is today. A beautiful
Yeah.
young lady.
I mean, just seeing the impact that you can have on somebody, like you said, for just being kind, and what it can do to really, change or path their lives like it did hers with the journalism and everything else.
I hope that's a lesson for people, right?
Yeah.
Whatever your field, the people that come into your path, you don't know the impact you're going to have. And her family had been through so much. She said a lot of this came back to the surface when she became a mom. I can only
Sure.
imagine when she said, your safe place is supposed to be your bed, so
Yeah.
you put your babies down to sleep. So she's talked with people over the years. She has gotten the appropriate counseling to try and, have good, positive mental health. And again, that's a reminder for people too that it's good to talk to people. You have to talk out these things. You and I have covered so many stories over the years. People go through remarkable things and bounce back. And I really hope that's the lesson of their
Yeah.
family.
I agree. Well, Laurabree, thank you for sharing that story. And Siera,
Thank you.
thank you as well. It was wonderful. And you can see the full version online, cn2.com. So make sure to check that out. All right, well, stay with CN2 today. We'll have much more fun right here in the studio.